Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's Monday, February the 1st, 2016. Last week there was a slew of conferences, mining conferences in Vancouver. So it was a really busy week for me, and I had some good takeaways from the conferences. One of them was the Metals Investors Forum put on by Eric Coffin, Brent Cook, the Resource Maven, and the names are escaping me, Keith Schaefer as well, and Gwen Preston, sorry, is the Resource Maven. I really enjoyed that show. It was a comfortable sort of venue. They had nice seats there, and the presentations rolled along quite nicely in between the breaks. I wasn't there for the entire day, but I was there from about 8 or 9 company presentations. When I got there, they gave us a memory stick, and on that memory stick, they had a group of all the company presentations. What I've done is I've gone through those presentations and looked at the ones that sort of stand out to me, and I wanted to talk about those today. Before I get started on that, though, I have some big news from the Alan Berry reports end of things. I make my reports possible because of due to sponsors and clients for my consulting business. And recently, I launched a website sponsorship program that I'm very proud of. I believe strongly that this program can replace for a lot of public companies a very expensive budgets that they have for promotion of their company, and I can do it at a fraction of the cost. And the first company to take me up on that was a company called Wolfgang Resources. Everybody's heard about Wolfgang Resources. It's a company that made a discovery of high-grade nickel and copper out in Manitoba near Snow Lake that I've been talking a lot about. And they've been doing a great job from the initial holes when I first started covering them. And now they've gone on and drilled additional holes. They've got 2 very exciting things developing on the project. If you could envision a wine glass that sort of sits like this, and then there's a stem. What they've found so far is sort of the outside of the wine glass. Inside the wine glass is a gabbro. I don't want to get too technical about geological terms, but to the edge of that is where you find a main zone, and then on the very edge is where you find a lower zone. And the drilling is now leading them on that lower zone to where the stem is. And the stem of the wine glass is sort of the feeder system where these metals make their way up. This feeder system also, or the one side of the extension goes all the way up to surface. So it's a very exciting project. They've decided to be my sponsor. I'd like you to check them out. These sponsors make the show possible. Their symbol is WLF. They trade on the TSX Venture Exchange, and their website is wolfganresources.com. So let's get on to some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Before I get into the the Metals Investors Conference, I wanted to first talk about some trends that I've been looking at very closely. What I'm going to do here is pull up a screen share. So everybody can see what I'm talking about. Earlier this year, I did a show that I called the Outlook 2016 report. In that show, I talked about what I saw for gold, the stock market, and the US dollar. Pretty glad to see that the stock market has followed the trends that I was talking about, as has gold. And one of the basics of my thesis was that gold has had one of the best January barometer readings, and stocks have had the poorest in many years. And I wanted to go over that with you right now. So I've got the screen share up there. I hope you can all see my US dollar perfect. So the first one I'm going to look at here is we're going to go back and look at the stock market. My reasons for being bearish on the stock market was because I think the market is very overbought. It's priced for perfection. The earnings relative to the earnings growth is at a premium. And so, I was expecting a correction. We got the start of it in the latter part of December, which is sort of what they call the Santa Claus rally. If you don't get a Santa Claus rally, oftentimes it means you're going to have a tough start to the year. And boy, did they ever get off to a tough start. Did the stock market ever get off to a tough start? Look at this downward pressure right out of the gate. Now, later in the month, it had some upwards pressure. But I think what we're seeing here is just a relief rally here and some profit taking of the shorts. I think that this January effect is indicating that the year is going to be tough and there will probably be a recovery towards the end of the year. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that the downward pressure could lead to as much as a 20 to 25% correction, and it's not there yet. And I see that it's got more downside. So I think in the first half or 3/4 of the year, we'll see that 15 to 25% correction bottom hit, with a little strength towards the end of the year, maybe in the last quarter. So we'll be watching that one closely. Now, the other big trend I wanted to talk about is gold. Gold bottomed here in December. Since the beginning of the year, like the S&P has been sort of downward, this has been on a beautiful uptrend. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Even the lows are now getting pretty soft. Now, this January effect is one of the best ones I can find out there. What this suggests is that January is an indicator of what's going to happen for the rest of the year. And for this year, it looks like gold is going to be on a bottom left to top right kind of a trend. That's what the January effect is telling me. I also like this trend. If you go back to November, you saw a pretty stiff correction, a bottoming, and now it's coming up the other side. I'm looking for a 20 to 25% upwards move in gold from the bottom at the start of the year this year, and I think we're getting off to a good start. So let's now go to the first company from the Metals Investor Forum conference. First of all, I'll talk about the speakers that I listened to. I listened to Eric Coffin as well as Brent Cook at the conference, and I really enjoyed the outlook. I find that Eric Coffin from Hard Rock Advisors and we kind of follow the similar kind of things. We even look at the market in a similar fundamental sense. So I was really interested in hearing what he had to say. He was talking about the trends that I'm talking about, and I think we're seeing a similar thing. I'm a little more confident, I believe, on the price of gold getting stronger this year, but I think Eric sees the potential for that, and I think he believes that this year will definitely be better than last year. I think last year, the December was the end of a 4-year bear market, and now we're heading into a much better market. So Eric's coverage was really good. Brent Cook was up there, and I didn't expect to sort of get my nose rubbed in how simple it was to discover the Rubicon disaster. And Brent has been on the other side of that story. He's pumping the drum about how he had called it. And one of the slides that he used was he had a fan of holes on a cross section, so you can sort of see how the holes or the mineralization is plotted. And he highlighted where the 10-gram and higher intersections were. And when he did that, you can see it looks like, there's just a little bit red here, here, and here. It looks all over the place. Doesn't look like it's got any continuity. My question, and I wasn't expecting to ask a question. I didn't think that they would open the conference up for questions, but Brent asked for one, so I asked him. I said, "How big does those lenses need to be in Red Lake when you're talking about such high grade?" He kind of didn't really answer the question, because the answer is they can be very, very small. If you ever have a model of the lenses that they mined at Red Lake, you're talking about tiny ore bodies here. They can slip in between those drill holes. And so I kind of defended myself, because I didn't really feel like getting my nose rubbed in it at the conference. Plus, I think that there's a technical question as to it wasn't as simple as Brent wants it to make it out to be. But he's banging the drum because he's get a lot of attention on that. Nonetheless, I think I see a lot of similarities of what he's talking about and what I look for as well. We just sort of bump heads on the Rubicon issue. I've had enough of the Rubicon issue. I think that management has screwed that company up for a very long time, and I'll leave it at that. Let's get on to the companies. Now, the first company, I'll go back to the screen share. And I'm not talking about these companies in any order of priority other than alphabetical. So when I went through the presentation, here was the first company that I came across, Arena Minerals. And Arena Minerals caught my attention here in the stock chart. It's had a pretty good year for how difficult the market's been for mining stocks. Sort of started out a year ago, bottom left, and I'm on a 1 year there. Bottom left, top right, and then I looked at their presentation, and a couple things stood out to me. So let's start. I'm going to just click through some of the big points. 80 million shares outstanding, 99 million fully diluted. They currently have 2 million shares, or $2 million of cash. The share price is 22 cents when they put this together. So the company has a $17.6 million market cap with 2 million in cash. 14% is held by insiders. 12% is owned by Ross Beatty. Ross is a very sharp guy. Teck Resources also owns 5%. Their focus is on Chile. One of their projects is the Atacama copper property. There's good presentation material. If you go to their website, you'll see where they're located, the infrastructure that's in the area, who their partners are on their various different projects. One's a Teck Arena joint venture, another's a B2 Gold and Arena joint venture. One's Jogmec and Arena, and then Arena has another project that they were quite excited about at the conference, and they were talking about it being available for partnering out. So this is your classic sort of project generator model. They go find projects, they partner them up with big partners. All this is a very good sign of the quality of the projects. They've got some good concepts there in their property, the various different properties that they're working on. So that's one that, they caught my attention. Chile has good geology. They've got good partners. They've got lots of ground. They've got cash. Their stock symbol is AN, and they trade on the Venture Exchange. The next company up is Everam Resources. Now, Everam Resources is a company that I know quite well. The reason that I know it quite well is, I'm just going to pull their stock up here. Just give me a second. The reason that I know the Everam story quite well, we don't want to look at Eaton Vance. EVM, I believe, is their stock. There it is. The reason that I know the Everam story quite well is the guy who runs the company, Patty Nickel, and I kind of got into we came up in the business together, I would say. We both used to work for a company called Pamacon Developments. Pamacon was at one time the largest geological consulting firm in Vancouver. And Patty's uncle, Bob Darney, rest his soul, he passed away about a year ago. Bob Darney had been a mentor to Patty, myself, and many people in the mining business. He's a very well-known gentleman. And so I watched Patty's sort of when he went on his own and he started developing this company. Here's the stock chart. As you can see, they bottomed back there about 10 cents in November. They're these project generators, they tend not to be overly liquid and a lot of volatility. I mean, the stock traded in a range from about 17.5 cents to 10 cents throughout the year. Not a lot of volatility there, but what they are is sort of a play on the bottoming of the commodity cycle and the next up cycle. These companies tend to be buyers of good assets on the down cycles, and then are trying to sell them or liquidate them or some exit plan when things get stronger. And so you take a really long-term view of this. But what also caught my attention was before Patty's presentation, he had a chance to go over his new acquisition with me, and I was very impressed with that acquisition. I think this is a company you want to take a look at. Everam Resources, project generator, mainly in Mexico, also has a project in British Columbia, really good partners, well-run team. I believe they have about $4 million in cash. Go look at their presentation. They're fully diluted, about 63 million shares. So not a lot of stock out, and a good management ownership of 13%. Altius Minerals, which is another prospect generator, actually owns a good chunk of 12% of the company as well. I think Paul Van Eden is a pretty big shareholder. EVM is their stock symbol. Check them out, Everam Resources. The next company I'm going to bring up today is GoldQuest. GoldQuest is a company that I started watching because Eric Coffin was talking about the company on a GQC is their stock symbol. Sorry, I'm just pulling up their stock right now. Eric Coffin and I spend a fair bit of time on a website called chat.ceo.ca. And he's mentioned this GoldQuest a few times to me. They're down in the Dominican Republic. And what interested me was the grades. I'm always a big fan of high-grade gold. And also that this project had a potential to be put into production fairly quickly. Their symbol's GQC. They've been sort of a sleepy trader here, going sideways for most of the year, as you can see. Not much of a trading range, which is actually a pretty good sign that the shareholders are well informed and believe that they have a solid project. I think just a new wave of buying would probably bring up a new valuation. And if gold gets stronger, I think that could be one catalyst. They also have two other catalysts. One is that they have a preliminary feasibility study to report, and also more exploration. Now, they're currently going through it's once every 5 years they have to resubmit their concession license. And they're going through that process right now. So until that gets done, I don't see a lot of news out of the company, but I think that we're looking fairly close here, like in a matter of weeks or days, not weeks and months. And I think once that happens, you're going to hear more about GoldQuest. Eric Coffin is a really good stock picker. He knows good projects. He turned me on to this company, and as I learn more, I get more excited about the company. Check them out. GoldQuest Mining, GQC is their stock symbol. They trade on the Venture Exchange as well. Next up is, I'm going to talk about, ICG, Integra Gold Corp. We're just going to pull their stock symbol up. Now, ICG is it's a Quebec-based company in the Val d'Or area, I believe it is. They're hitting some very high-grade gold. There was a combination here. I believe yeah, it was their stock chart that I really liked, especially since the summertime back in August. I felt that gold was pretty oversold then, and we had a pretty good pop, but then gold came off and gold stocks got softer. But even despite that, the stock has been trending upwards, and I think a lot of that has to do with the quality of the projects. Now, what I like about this stock chart is sort of what you see here. In the last few days, it's broken above the moving averages, the 50, the 30, and the 100-day moving averages. When I see those kind of breakouts after a more bullish trend, I really like to see that. So I like this stock chart and I like this story. I think you want to check this one out, Integra Gold Corp. ICG is their symbol. They're in Quebec. It's a great place to do exploration and mine development. They're very pro mining in Quebec, and this company has the Truth machine out there, the drill rig, and they've been returning high grade. So check them out. Next company up is Kaminak Gold. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't there for the Kaminak Gold part of the presentation, but I was. It is a company that I'm following very closely. I was on their conference call not too long ago. Here's their stock. This is also, bottomed in August there, been on a nice trend, broken above the trend lines. And they've done a pre-feasibility study as well, I believe, or maybe even feasibility study. I can't remember which it was, but the numbers look really, really strong. My only fatal flaw that I could see the possibility of is I was worried about their permitting issues. Company had moved from a valley fill type of a concept to these the pits or the ponds for their heap leach will be up in terraces sort of, and that sort of sent a red flag to me that I was concerned about their permits. Heap leach operations are pretty common down in Nevada, not so common up in the Yukon. It had me a little bit worried, and lately they've done another presentation, and I understand that I heard the presentation, and they will only be putting the material on the pads for about 100 days of the year. And this is also because of permit concerns. So I think my concerns about the permits weren't unfounded, because it looks like they've had to take those permits into consideration in a big way, significant way, a couple times really early in the planning stages. So they do have a great project. The numbers make a lot of sense. The trend is very positive. Kaminak is one you want to check out. KAM is their stock symbol. I might be over worrying about this. My tendency these days, because of how tough the market has been, is to over worry. I know that Kaminak has a team that has permitted mines in the north in the past and have very competent people. So I might just be over worrying, but that's what I give you my thoughts here, and that's what my thoughts are these days on Kaminak. Another company from the conference that I really like the potential of is a company called Mirasol. Mirasol is a company. Mirasol. I'm just pulling up their symbol here. Mirasol is a prospect generator in South America with a lot of cash. Take a look at the stock here. In November, it bottomed, been doing very well since then. And it's broken above those moving averages, which is another thing I like to see. This company looks to be ready to participate when gold gets stronger. I really suggest you go check out their website, because on their website you can see where all the key points of the project. It's a great they've got a number of projects and lots of money and a really good team involved with this company as well. MRZ is their stock symbol. I'm watching them closely because I think that they could be a real good performer. Again, I think you want to take that longer term attitude, just like with the like other prospect generators. But I do like a lot of where they are. I know one of the areas that's key for them is in Argentina. And down in a part of Argentina, I had really good success in the past when I picked a company called Extore that was subsequently bought out by Yamana. And a lot of my readers did very well because we picked it early. And so I have a very good audience and a good knowledge and interest in that area. And I like what Mirasol has down there. And I think that they've got a great shot going forward as a prospect generator. Before I want to go on again, in case anyone's coming in late here, I announced earlier that I brought on a new sponsor to my website. That sponsor is a company called Wolfden. Seeing as how I've got this screen share ability here, why don't I pull the Wolfden stock chart up before I get back onto the other companies. Wolfden is a new participant in my new website sponsorship program. We started covering it back here when they made some initial discovery holes. I like where it's going. It's been under pressure here a lot. The company's kind of waiting for the next drilling to start, so it kind of softened up. But I'm very optimistic with the next batch of drilling that they do. Go check our new sponsor out, Wolfgang Resources. WLF is their stock symbol. The next stock from the Metals Investor Forum is pulling them up here right now. NXE is their stock symbol. Next Gen Energy is the name of the company. They've got a very good discovery of high-grade uranium in Saskatchewan in the Athabasca Basin. Now look at this company here. It's been a bottom left to top right kind of stock. Very unique relative to most of the uranium stocks these days. Again, they've got this Arrow discovery. It's high grade. It looks very promising. They're early in the stage of it, but they got a lot left to go. They have a sort of a model of what they're looking for on their website. As well as you can see geophysics, drill core, all in that presentation. Go check out the presentation. They got a ton to talk about in that presentation. And it's no wonder that this stock has been doing well. Now, if you're bullish on uranium, which I think that I'm not quite there yet with uranium, but I still believe that it doesn't matter what condition the market is in, there's going to be winners. And uranium's been under tough times, and next Gen Energy has been doing pretty good. Check them out. NXE is their stock symbol, and they trade on the venture as well. Two more companies before I'm done here, so I'll wrap through these quite quickly. Pilot Gold is one. Pilot Gold's been a company that I've followed for quite some time. They've got projects down in Nevada and Turkey. The reason that I follow them so closely is that they were a spin-out of a company called Frontier. People that were with Frontier Gold started this company. Now, they've been under a lot of pressure with their stock, but when you get a good team like this and good projects, that's what you want to focus on. These guys know how to find gold. They found it in Nevada. They found it in Turkey. They've got good projects, and you check them out as well. PLG is their stock symbol, and they trade on the Toronto Exchange. The final company I have to talk about today is Sabina Gold and Silver. The viewers of my webs, or those that follow my work, know that I've been covering Sabina quite significantly over the last 4 or 5 months. A few months ago, I had Bruce McLeod on. I think it was back here somewhere. So there was a nice move after that on very good volume. So I liked, I think my audience likes this. I like the action after the report went out and the video I did with them. It did have the breakout above the moving averages, and now it broke below, but it did find support there at the 100-day moving average. So that's a good sign for the stock. What has me excited about the company, in addition to having an advanced gold project in Nunavut, is that they've also got exploration potential. They found some very high grade surface samples near a structure that's close to their proposed plant. And I really like the potential when they start drilling. Now, Bruce that runs Sabina has mentioned in the past in presentations that I've watched that he doesn't believe that the market is really rewarding companies for exploration success. So in one sense, it's arguing you ain't putting drill holes in the ground, but in their case, I think what makes it worth doing, and by the way, I think gold is about to get stronger. So, as I said earlier, and in the year and today, I think that gold is going to get stronger. So I think that gold stocks are going to start getting better performance based on drilling. But I think what makes Sabina quite unique is that if they were able to find a lot of high grade gold 500 meters from their plant, that's going to help not that's going to give them help to the economics of their project as well as exploration results. So I talked to Bruce at the Metals Investor Forum as well, quite extensively out in the hallway or out in the where the booths were. And he was mentioning that they're expecting to be drilling here in the next, I think it was about month or so. So month, 6 weeks, something like that. So we're going to get some answers pretty quickly on that drilling, that new discovery area that I'm so excited about on their property and close proximity to their plant. And they got about $7 million this year, I believe, it is budgeted for drilling. So I think they're going to have a lot of news out and a very good news flow going forward. So that's all the companies I wanted to talk to. I might have taken a little bit longer here, but you can sort of understand why. There was a lot of companies at the Metals Investors Forum. Another conference that I spent a lot of time at, 4 days last week, actually. The Metals Investor Forum was only 1 day. The Roundup conference put on by the AIM-BC was also in Vancouver last week, and I spent a bunch of time at the Core Shack down there looking at maps, talking to companies. I got a couple shows that are going to be coming out once they've been edited by the video guy. And yeah, I'm really excited about those shows as well, and the commentary that I'll have out later this week. Another thing that I got later this week is John Kaiser, the well-known newsletter writer, is going to come on and talk about some diamonds, some regulatory stuff, where the market is, some of his picks. We'll have a thorough conversation. John and I have spoken in the past in these interview type situations, and we really have a good conversation. So look for those shows coming up. Again, thank you to the viewers for tuning in, and most importantly, to my new sponsor, Wolfgang Resources, our new website sponsor. They help make this work possible. Check them out at wolfgangresources.com. WLF is their stock symbol. Again, I always have to say at the end that my shows, my commentary, my reporting is all for information purposes only. Before making any investment decisions, it's important to speak with your financial advisors and do your homework. On that note, you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.